100 Civics Questions for US Citizenship 2025, Animated Interview Practice, Part 1, 1 to 15. A quiet, well-lit room in a USCIS office. An American flag stands tall in the corner. Anne, the officer, sits across from Mark, who is both nervous and determined. They have the Civics Study Guide on the table.
All right, Mark. I'll ask you the first 15 civics questions, each with 3 answer choices. Pick the best answer, and I'll explain why it's correct. Let's begin. Question 1. Name one war fought by the United States in the 1800s. A. The Civil War. B. World War I. C. The Vietnam War.
I think the answer is A. The Civil War.
Correct. The Civil War, 1861 to 1865, was a conflict between the northern and southern states over slavery and states' rights. It resulted in the end of slavery and preserved the Union. Question 2. Who wrote the Declaration of Independence? A. Thomas Jefferson. B. George Washington. C. Benjamin Franklin.
I think the answer is A. Thomas Jefferson.
That's right. Jefferson was the main author of the Declaration in 1776. He expressed the colony's desire for freedom from British rule and listed grievances against King George III. Question 3. Who is one of your state's U.S. senators now? A. Answers will vary. B. Abraham Lincoln. C. Joe Biden.
I think the answer is A. Answers will vary.
Correct. Every state has 2 U.S. senators. Their names differ depending on where you live. You can find them on the U.S. Senate website or by contacting local election offices. Question 4. What is the capital of the United States? A. Washington, D.C. B. New York City. C. Los Angeles.
I think the answer is A. Washington, D.C.
Yes, Washington, D.C. is the official capital. It's a special federal district, not part of any state, and it hosts all 3 branches of the federal government. Question 5. What did Martin Luther King Jr. do? A. Fought for civil rights. B. Became a senator. C. Wrote the Constitution.
I think the answer is A. Fought for civil rights.
Correct. Martin Luther King Jr. was a key leader in the civil rights movement. He promoted nonviolent protest to end racial segregation and pushed for equal treatment of all Americans. Question 6. How many amendments does the Constitution have? A. 27. B. 10. C. 33.
I think the answer is A. 27.
Exactly. The Constitution has 27 amendments. These changes were made over time to address issues like voting rights, civil liberties, and government procedures. Question 7. There are 4 amendments to the Constitution about who can vote. Describe one. A. Any citizen can vote. B. Only men can vote. C. Citizens over 21 can vote.
I think the answer is A. Any citizen can vote.
That's right. The Constitution guarantees that every U.S. citizen, regardless of gender or race, can vote if they meet the age requirement. This right is protected by several amendments. Question 8. When was the Constitution written? A. 1787. B. 1776. C. 1800.
I think the answer is A. 1787.
Correct. The Constitution was drafted in 1787 during the Constitutional Convention in Philadelphia. It replaced the Articles of Confederation and created the framework for today's U.S. government. Question 9. In what month do we vote for president? A. November. B. January. C. December.
I think the answer is A. November.
Exactly. Presidential elections are held in November, specifically the Tuesday after the first Monday. This schedule was chosen to suit farming schedules in the 19th century. Question 10. Name one branch or part of the government. A. The executive branch, President. B. The legislative branch, Congress. C. The judicial branch, Supreme Court.
I think the answer is A. The executive branch, President.
That's correct. The executive branch enforces the laws. It is led by the President, who oversees federal agencies and commands the military. Question 11. When do we celebrate Independence Day? A. July 4th. B. June 14th. C. December 25th.
I think the answer is A. July 4th.
Absolutely. July 4th, 1776 marks the day the Declaration of Independence was adopted. Americans celebrate with fireworks, parades, and patriotic displays. Question 12. What is the economic system in the United States? A. Market economy. B. Socialist economy. C. Command economy.
I think the answer is A. Market economy.
Correct. In a market economy, prices and production are determined by supply and demand. People and businesses make most economic decisions with limited government control. Question 13. Who does a U.S. Senator represent? A. All the people of the state. B. Only voters in their party. C. Only the state's capital.
I think the answer is A. All the people of the state.
Yes. A senator's job is to represent everyone in their state, not just one group or region. That includes people who didn't vote for them. Question 14. What movement tried to end racial discrimination? A. The Civil Rights Movement. B. The Labor Movement. C. The Anti-War Movement.
I think the answer is A. The Civil Rights Movement.
Correct. This movement aimed to end unfair laws and practices that targeted African Americans. It led to major legal reforms, such as the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Question 15. What is one reason colonists came to America? A. Freedom. B. To escape cold weather. C. To find gold mines.
I think the answer is A. Freedom.
That's right. Many colonists were escaping religious and political persecution in Europe. They hoped to live freely and have opportunities to build a better life. Great job, Mark. How do you feel?
I feel good. A few questions made me pause, but I'm glad I knew the answers.
That's a strong sign. After any interview, you should review how you did. Ask yourself, were you confident? Did you hesitate? Which questions felt hardest?
I'll definitely go back over the ones I was unsure about.
Smart idea. Focus especially on any areas where you felt uncertain. You've got a solid foundation, Mark. Keep reviewing, and you'll be more than ready.
100 Civics Questions for US Citizenship 2025. Animated Interview Practice, Part 2, 1630. The morning sun filters through the blinds. Anne greets Mark again, who now seems more relaxed than before. He sits down with his study guide, a determined smile on his face.
Welcome back, Mark. You did great with the first 15 questions last week. Today we'll continue with questions 16 to 30. Are you ready to keep going?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Question 16. When is the last day you can send in federal income tax forms? A. April 15th. B. January 1st. C. July 4th.
I think the answer is A. April 15th.
Correct. April 15th is the deadline to file federal income taxes. It's important for every worker and business owner in the U.S. to file by this date unless they request an extension. Question 17. What do we show loyalty to when we say the Pledge of Allegiance? A. The President. B. The United States. C. The flag.
I think the answer is B. The United States.
Right. While the flag is mentioned in the pledge, what we're truly pledging is our loyalty to the country and its values, freedom, justice, and unity. Question 18. Name one problem that led to the Civil War. A. Taxation. B. Slavery. C. Trade disagreements.
I think the answer is B. Slavery.
Exactly. Slavery was the central issue dividing the northern and southern states, eventually resulting in the Civil War from 1861 to 1865. Question 19. What is one right only for United States citizens? A. To vote in a federal election. B. To drive a car. C. To start a business.
I think the answer is A. To vote in a federal election.
That's correct. Only citizens can vote in federal elections, which include voting for president, senators, and representatives. It's one of the most powerful rights of citizenship. Question 20. Under our Constitution, what is one power of the federal government? A. To set school rules. B. To print money. C. To issue driver's licenses.
I think the answer is B. To print money.
Right. Only the federal government can print and manage U.S. currency, a responsibility handled by the U.S. Department of the Treasury. Question 21. The idea of self-government is in the first three words of the Constitution. What are these words? A. We the people. B. For the people. C. The people rule.
I think the answer is A. We the people.
Absolutely. These words show that the government's power comes from the citizens, not from a king or a dictator. It's a powerful statement of democracy. Question 22. Who makes federal laws? A. The Supreme Court. B. Congress. C. The President.
I think the answer is B. Congress.
Correct. Congress, which includes the Senate and House of Representatives, is the legislative branch that debates and passes federal laws. Question 23. There were 13 original states. Name 3. A. California, Texas, Florida. B. New York, New Jersey, New Hampshire. C. Ohio, Illinois, Michigan.
I think the answer is B. New York, New Jersey, New Hampshire.
That's right. These were 3 of the original 13 colonies that declared independence from Britain in 1776 and helped form the United States. Question 24. What does the judicial branch do? A. Enforces the law. B. Reviews laws. C. Writes laws.
I think the answer is B. Reviews laws.
Exactly. The judicial branch interprets laws and ensures they follow the Constitution. The Supreme Court is the highest court in this branch. Question 25. We elect a president for how many years? A. 2 years. B. 4 years. C. 6 years.
I think the answer is B. 4 years.
Correct. U.S. presidents serve 4-year terms and can be re-elected once for a maximum of 8 years total in office. Question 26. What is an amendment and how many amendments do we have? A. A change to the Constitution, 27. B. A law made by states, 10. C. A declaration by the President, 33.
I think the answer is A. A change to the Constitution, 27.
Yes. An amendment is a formal change or addition to the Constitution. There are currently 27 amendments, which include important rights and protections. Question 27. What are 2 rights in the Declaration of Independence? A. Life and liberty. B. The right to vote and freedom of religion. C. Freedom of the press and the right to bear arms.
I think the answer is A. Life and liberty.
Correct. The Declaration of Independence says all people have the unalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. These ideas are at the heart of American values. Question 28. What is the name of the Speaker of the House of Representatives now? A. Mike Johnson. B. Chuck Schumer. C. Kamala Harris.
I think the answer is A. Mike Johnson.
That's right. Mike Johnson is the current Speaker, elected by the House of Representatives to lead and manage legislative work in that chamber. Question 29. Who is the Chief Justice of the United States now? A. John Roberts. B. Brett Kavanaugh. C. Clarence Thomas.
I think the answer is A. John Roberts.
Correct. John Roberts has served as Chief Justice since 2005. He presides over the Supreme Court and represents the judicial branch. Question 30. What is the capital of your state? A. Answers will vary. B. New York City. C. Washington, D.C.
I think the answer is A. Answers will vary.
Exactly. Each state has its own capital. For example, if you live in Texas, the capital is Austin. This question depends on where you live, so be sure to know your state's capital. Well done again, Mark. That was another strong round. You answered confidently and stayed focused.
Thank you, Anne. I feel like I'm getting better each time. Some questions, like the one about the number of amendments and the Speaker of the House, made me think a little longer, but I remembered the correct answers.
That's perfectly normal. Questions that involve current officials or numbers, like how many amendments, often trip people up because they require memorization and staying updated. The important thing is that you recognize the right answer and trusted your preparation.
Yeah, and when you explain the answers after, it helps me understand them more deeply, not just memorize them.
Exactly. That's how you turn information into true knowledge. After each practice or interview, it's helpful to reflect. Ask yourself, which questions made me pause? Did I really understand the question or just guess? Can I explain the answer to someone else?
That makes sense. I think I'll go back and review a few topics. Like the judicial branch and state capitals, I got them right, but I want to feel more sure.
That's a great strategy. Another tip is to simulate the actual interview setting. Time yourself, speak your answers out loud, and get used to answering clearly without hesitation. It helps with confidence and fluency.
I'll do that. I'm starting to feel like this is something I can achieve.
And you absolutely can, Mark. You're doing the hard work, and it shows. Stay consistent, review the details, and keep practicing. When your actual interview comes, it will feel just like this conversation.
Thanks, Anne. I really appreciate the guidance and the way you explain everything. It makes a big difference.
You're very welcome. I'll see you next session for questions 31 to 45. Keep up the great work.
100 Civics Questions for US Citizenship 2025. Animated Interview Practice, Part 3, 31 to 45. The weather is cloudy, but the room remains warm and well lit. Anne greets Mark with a smile. This is their third session, and Mark's confidence is noticeably stronger.
Welcome back, Mark. We're now halfway through the 100 questions. Are you ready to continue with questions 31 to 45?
Yes, I've been reviewing and I feel much more prepared. Let's go.
Question 31. What is freedom of religion? A. You can practice any religion or not practice a religion. B. You must follow the government's religion. C. You can only practice certain religions.
I think the answer is A. You can practice any religion or not practice a religion.
Exactly. This is protected by the First Amendment. In the U.S., the government cannot force a religion on anyone or prevent anyone from following their beliefs, or none at all. Question 32. What is one promise you make when you become a United States citizen? A. To be loyal to the United States. B. To change your religion. C. To speak English only.
I think the answer is A. To be loyal to the United States.
That's correct. New citizens take an oath to support and defend the Constitution and the laws of the U.S., including loyalty to the country above all other nations. Question 33. Before he was president, Eisenhower was a general. What war was he in? A. Korean War. B. World War II. C. World War I.
I think the answer is B. World War II.
Yes. Dwight D. Eisenhower was a five-star general in World War II. He led the Allied forces in Europe and was key to the D-Day invasion before becoming president in 1953. Question 34. How many U.S. senators are there? A. 100. B. 435. C. 50.
I think the answer is A. 100.
Correct. Each of the 50 states has 2 senators, giving us a total of 100 senators in Congress. This provides equal representation in the Senate regardless of a state's population. Question 35. Name your U.S. representative. A. Depends on where you live. B. Joe Biden. C. George Washington.
I think the answer is A. Depends on where you live.
That's right. Your representative is elected from your specific congressional district. You can look up who represents you using your zip code on the House of Representatives website. Question 36. What is the name of the national anthem? A. The Star-Spangled Banner. B. America the Beautiful. C. My Country, 'Tis of Thee.
I think the answer is A. The Star-Spangled Banner.
Correct. Written by Francis Scott Key during the War of 1812, it was inspired by the sight of the U.S. flag flying over Fort McHenry after a battle. Question 37. How many justices are on the Supreme Court? A. 7. B. 9. C. 11.
I think the answer is B. 9.
Yes, the U.S. Supreme Court has 9 justices, including 1 Chief Justice and 8 Associate Justices. This number has remained the same since 1869. Question 38. What are 2 rights of everyone living in the United States? A. Right to own land and free health care. B. Freedom of speech and freedom of religion. C. The right to vote and to have a job.
I think the answer is B. Freedom of speech and freedom of religion.
Exactly. These rights apply to everyone living in the U.S., not just citizens. They are protected by the Constitution and represent the core values of democracy. Question 39. Who signs bills to become laws? A. The President. B. The Speaker of the House. C. The Chief Justice.
I think the answer is A. the President.
Correct. Once Congress passes a bill, it must be signed by the President to become law. The President also has the power to veto bills. Question 40. What territory did the United States buy from France in 1803? A. Alaska. B. Louisiana. C. Hawaii.
I think the answer is B. Louisiana.
That's right. Known as the Louisiana Purchase, this massive land acquisition doubled the size of the U.S. and was purchased under President Thomas Jefferson. Question 41. During the Cold War, what was the main concern of the United States? A. Fascism. B. Communism. C. Immigration.
I think the answer is B. Communism.
Exactly. The U.S. sought to stop the spread of communism during the Cold War, especially in response to actions by the Soviet Union. This led to many conflicts and military strategies. Question 42. What does the President's cabinet do? A. Advises the President. B. Passes laws. C. Commands the military.
I think the answer is A. Advises the President.
Correct. The cabinet includes the heads of federal departments like state, defense, and education. They provide expert guidance to the president on national and international issues. Question 43. Name one American Indian tribe in the United States. A. Crow. B. Mayan. C. Aztec.
I think the answer is A. Crow.
Right. The Crow are a Native American tribe originally from the Great Plains. Many tribes, like the Cherokee, Navajo, and Sioux, still exist today with their own governments and cultures. Question 44. Who lived in America before the Europeans arrived? A. Native Americans. B. African slaves. C. British settlers.
I think the answer is A. Native Americans.
Absolutely. Indigenous peoples lived across the Americas long before European exploration. They had diverse languages, traditions, and complex societies. Question 45. What are the two major political parties in the United States? A. Democratic and Republican. B. Libertarian and Green. C. Federalist and Whig.
I think the answer is A. Democratic and Republican.
Correct. These are the two dominant parties in American politics today. While other parties exist, most elected officials belong to one of these two. Another excellent session, Mark. You've really taken your preparation to the next level.
Thank you, Anne. I'm feeling more confident with every session. These questions helped me understand not just facts, but also the context behind them.
And that's exactly the goal. It's one thing to memorize, but when you understand the ideas, like freedom of religion or the Cold War, you're showing real knowledge. That's what interviewers want to see.
Some of the details, like the number of justices or who signs bills, were tough at first, but now they make sense.
Great observation. Remember to reflect after each round. Ask yourself which questions felt natural, which ones required extra thought. Could I explain this to someone else without looking at my notes?
I'm going to try that this week. Maybe even practice explaining the answers out loud.
Excellent. You've got a solid grasp now. Just keep reviewing and stay current, especially on anything that could change, like the names of government officials.
I'll keep working on it. Thanks for all your help and encouragement, Anne.
You're welcome. You're doing everything right. Let's meet again soon for questions 46 through 60.
100 Civics Questions for US Citizenship 2025. Animated Interview Practice, Part 4, 46 to 60. Outside, the sky begins to turn orange. Inside, Anne and Mark are seated across from each other for their fourth meeting. There's a calm rhythm now, and Mark looks more assured than ever.
Welcome back, Mark. You've come a long way, from the basics of U.S. history to understanding the structure of government. Ready for questions 46 to 60?
Definitely. Let's keep going.
Question 46. Who was the first president? A. George Washington. B. Thomas Jefferson. C. Abraham Lincoln.
I think the answer is A. George Washington.
Correct. George Washington led the Continental Army during the American Revolution and became the first U.S. president in 1789. He set many precedents, including serving only 2 terms. Question 47. Why does the flag have 50 stars? A. Because there are 50 states. B. Because there are 50 original colonies. C. Because of 50 military victories.
I think the answer is A. Because there are 50 states.
Exactly. Each star represents a state in the Union. The flag has changed over time, adding stars as new states joined the country. Question 48. Who was president during the Great Depression and World War II? A. Harry Truman. B. Franklin Roosevelt. C. Woodrow Wilson.
I think the answer is B. Franklin Roosevelt.
Right. FDR was elected 4 times and led the nation through 2 of its most challenging periods, the economic crisis of the 1930s and the global war of the 1940s. Question 49. Name 1 war fought by the United States in the 1900s. A. The Civil War. B. World War II. C. The Revolutionary War.
I think the answer is B. World War II.
Correct. World War II, 1939 to 1945, involved many nations. The U.S. joined in 1941 after the attack on Pearl Harbor and played a crucial role in the Allied victory. Question 50. What are the 2 parts of the U.S. Congress? A. The Senate and the House of Representatives. B. The Cabinet and the courts. C. The President and the Vice President.
I think the answer is A. The Senate and the House of Representatives.
That's right. Congress is the legislative branch responsible for making laws. The Senate represents states equally. The House represents the population. Question 51. How old do citizens have to be to vote for president? A. 21, B. 18, C. 25.
I think the answer is B. 18.
Exactly. The 26th Amendment, ratified in 1971, lowered the voting age to 18 in response to Vietnam War-era protests that questioned the fairness of drafting 18-year-olds who couldn't yet vote. Question 52. If the president can no longer serve, who becomes president? A. The Speaker of the House. B. The Vice President. C. The Chief Justice.
I think the answer is B. The Vice President.
Correct. If the president dies, resigns, or is removed, the vice president takes over. This ensures continuity of leadership and stability in government. Question 53. What is one right or freedom from the First Amendment? A. Freedom of speech. B. The right to own property. C. The right to vote.
I think the answer is A. Freedom of speech.
Absolutely. The First Amendment protects your right to express opinions, criticize the government, and speak freely without fear of punishment. Question 54. We elect a U.S. representative for how many years? A. 4 years. B. 2 years. C. 6 years.
I think the answer is B. 2 years.
Yes. Representatives are elected every 2 years to keep them closely accountable to the people in their districts. All 435 seats are up for election every even-numbered year. Question 55. What did the Emancipation Proclamation do? A. Freed the slaves. B. Ended World War I. C. Gave women the right to vote.
I think the answer is A. Freed the slaves.
That's right. President Abraham Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation in 1863, freeing slaves in Confederate states and shifting the Civil War's focus toward human rights. Question 56. Who is in charge of the executive branch? A. The President. B. Congress. C. The Supreme Court.
I think the answer is A. The President.
Correct. The executive branch enforces laws and is led by the President, who also serves as Commander-in-Chief of the military. Question 57. What major event happened on September 11, 2001 in the United States? A. The Declaration of Independence was signed. B. Terrorists attacked the United States. C. The U.S. entered World War II.
I think the answer is B. Terrorists attacked the United States.
Yes. On 9/11, terrorists hijacked airplanes and attacked the World Trade Center and the Pentagon. It was a turning point in U.S. history, leading to new security and foreign policies. Question 58. What did the Declaration of Independence do? A. Announced our independence from Great Britain. B. Created the Constitution. C. Declared war on France.
I think the answer is A. Announced our independence from Great Britain.
Correct. Signed on July 4, 1776, the Declaration explained why the colonies were breaking away and asserted their right to be free and independent states. Question 59. When must all men register for the Selective Service? A. At age 18. B. At age 21. C. When they get a job.
I think the answer is A. At age 18.
That's right. All male U.S. citizens and residents must register within 30 days of their 18th birthday. It's not a draft, but it's a requirement in case one is ever needed. Question 60. What do we call the first 10 amendments to the Constitution? A. The Bill of Rights. B. The Federalist Papers. C. The Articles of Confederation.
I think the answer is A. The Bill of Rights.
Exactly. Ratified in 1791, these first 10 amendments protect essential freedoms like speech, religion, and due process, and limit government power over individuals. Excellent work again, Mark. These questions cover a wide range of topics, from history to your personal rights. How are you feeling?
Honestly, more confident than ever. I used to just memorize answers, but now I feel like I understand them. I can see how all the topics connect, like how the Constitution protects our rights and how historical events shaped them.
That's the best place to be. Understanding not only helps you in the interview, it also helps you become a more informed citizen. When you know why something matters, it's easier to remember and explain.
I agree. A few questions, like selective service or the Emancipation Proclamation, really stood out. I hadn't thought much about those before.
That's the power of reflection. After each session, take time to identify questions that surprised you. Practice explaining them in your own words. Think about how each topic affects your daily life as a future citizen.
I'll do that. I want to make sure I'm not just passing the test, but really earning this.
And you are, Mark. I can see the progress in every answer you give. Let's plan to meet again soon for questions 61 through 75.
100 Civics Questions for US Citizenship 2025. Animated Interview Practice, Part 5, 61 to 75. A soft rain taps against the window. Anne sits at the table, smiling as Mark walks in holding a weather-worn folder. They're now well into the journey.
Good to see you again, Mark. We're at Part 5 now. Only one more round to go after this. Today's questions focus a lot on leadership, structure, and some symbols of our nation.
I've been looking forward to this one. Let's get started.
Question 61. Under our Constitution, some powers belong to the states. What is one power of the states? A. To give a driver's license. B. To print money. C. To declare war.
I think the answer is A. To give a driver's license.
That's right. States have the power to manage local matters like education, public safety, and issuing driver's licenses. Federal powers like printing money or declaring war are not shared. Question 62. What did Susan B. Anthony do? A. Wrote the Constitution. B. Fought for women's rights. C. Led the army.
I think the answer is B. Fought for women's rights.
Exactly. Susan B. Anthony was a key figure in the women's suffrage movement. She campaigned tirelessly for the right of women to vote, which was eventually granted by the 19th Amendment. Question 63. Who is the governor of your state now? A. Depends on where you live. B. The vice president. C. The mayor.
I think the answer is A. Depends on where you live.
Correct. Each U.S. state has its own elected governor. It's important to know your governor's name for the interview. It's a commonly asked, personalized question. Question 64. When was the Declaration of Independence adopted? A. July 4th, 1776. B. September 17th, 1787. C. December 25th, 1776.
I think the answer is A. July 4th, 1776.
Yes. On this day, the American colonies officially declared independence from Britain. That's why we celebrate Independence Day every July 4th. Question 65. What is the rule of law? A. Everyone must follow the law. B. Only judges follow the law. C. The government is above the law.
I think the answer is A. Everyone must follow the law.
Correct. In the United States, the rule of law means no one, not even the president, is above the law. It ensures fairness, accountability, and order in society. Question 66. Who did the United States fight in World War II? A. Russia, China, and Germany. B. Japan, Italy, and Germany. C. France, Spain, and Britain.
I think the answer is B. Japan, Italy, and Germany.
That's right. These three nations formed the Axis powers, and the U.S. fought alongside Allied nations to defeat them during World War II. Question 67. Who is the Commander-in-Chief of the military? A. The Secretary of Defense. B. The President. C. The Speaker of the House.
I think the answer is B. The President.
Yes. The U.S. President holds ultimate authority over the military, although decisions on war and military spending involve Congress. Question 68. What is the highest court in the United States? A. The Supreme Court. B. The Court of Appeals. C. The District Court.
I think the answer is A. The Supreme Court.
Correct. The Supreme Court is the final authority in the judicial system. It interprets the Constitution and has the power to overturn laws deemed unconstitutional. Question 69. What ocean is on the east coast of the United States? A. Pacific Ocean. B. Arctic Ocean. C. Atlantic Ocean.
I think the answer is C. Atlantic Ocean.
Exactly. The Atlantic Ocean borders the East Coast, connecting U.S. ports to Europe and Africa. It's historically important for trade and immigration. Question 70. Where is the Statue of Liberty? A. Boston Harbor. B. New York Harbor. C. San Francisco Bay.
I think the answer is B. New York Harbor.
That's right. The Statue of Liberty, a gift from France in 1886, stands in New York Harbor as a symbol of freedom and welcome to immigrants. Question 71. What is the name of the Vice President of the United States now? A. Kamala Harris. B. J.D. Vance. C. Mike Pence.
I think the answer is B. J.D. Vance.
Correct. As of now, J.D. Vance serves as Vice President. The Vice President also presides over the Senate and steps in if the President can no longer serve. Question 72. We elect a U.S. Senator for how many years? A. 4. B. 2. C. 6.
I think the answer is C. 6.
Right. Senators serve 6-year terms, and elections are staggered so that only about 1/3 of the Senate is up for election every 2 years. Question 73. Who vetoes bills? A. The Senate. B. The President. C. The Supreme Court.
I think the answer is B. The President.
That's correct. If the President disagrees with a bill passed by Congress, they can veto it. However, Congress can override the veto with a 2/3 vote in both chambers. Question 74. What ocean is on the west coast of the United States? A. Atlantic Ocean. B. Indian Ocean. C. Pacific Ocean.
I think the answer is C. Pacific Ocean.
Exactly. The Pacific Ocean borders the U.S. from California to Alaska. It's the largest ocean and crucial for trade with Asia and the Pacific Islands. Question 75. Who led the Civil Rights Movement? A. Malcolm X. B. Rosa Parks. C. Martin Luther King Jr.
I think the answer is C. Martin Luther King Jr.
Yes, Dr. King was the face of the civil rights movement. Through speeches, marches, and peaceful protest, he pushed for racial equality and inspired legislative changes like the Civil Rights Act. Another great round, Mark. That was quite a variety, from geography to civil rights. How do you feel?
This round felt like everything was tying together, how laws are made, who leads, and how the past shapes the present. It really connects.
That's an excellent observation. You're not just memorizing facts, you're forming a deeper understanding of how everything functions in American society.
I did have to double-check a few answers in my mind, like the oceans and the current vice president, but I'm glad I remembered them.
That's totally normal. The best way to improve is to ask yourself, can I explain this in my own words? Can I relate it to what's happening in the world now? If the interviewer rephrased the question, would I still understand it?
I think I'm going to do more of that this week, summarizing what I've learned as if I were teaching someone else.
That's a fantastic strategy. You're building not just test readiness, but real civic knowledge. Let's meet soon for our final section, questions 76 through 100.
100 Civics Questions for US Citizenship 2025. Animated Interview Practice, Part 6. 7690. The sun begins to set behind the blinds. Anne and Mark sit down for their last session. There's a quiet sense of accomplishment in the air.
Welcome back, Mark. Today is special. This is our last session covering all 100 questions. You've done so well. Let's finish strong with questions 76 to 90.
I can't believe we're already here. I'm ready. Let's go.
Question 76. Name the U.S. war between the North and the South. A. The Civil War. B. The Revolutionary War. C. World War I.
I think the answer is A. The Civil War.
Correct. The Civil War, 1861 to 1865, was fought over issues like slavery and states' rights. It remains the deadliest conflict in American history. Question 77. What is the political party of the president now? A. Democratic. B. Republican. C. Independent.
I think the answer is B. Republican.
That's right. As of now, the president is a member of the Republican Party. It's important to stay up to date with this, since it can change depending on election results. Question 78. Name one of the two longest rivers in the United States. A. The Colorado River. B. The Mississippi River. C. The Hudson River.
I think the answer is B. The Mississippi River.
Exactly. The Mississippi River is one of the two longest rivers in the U.S., alongside the Missouri River. It flows through the heart of the country and has been vital for trade and travel. Question 79. Name two U.S. national holidays. A. Labor Day and Earth Day. B. New Year's Day and Christmas. C. Halloween and Valentine's Day.
I think the answer is B. New Year's Day and Christmas.
Correct. These are federal holidays recognized nationwide. Some other examples include Independence Day, Thanksgiving, and Memorial Day. Question 80. What is one important thing that Abraham Lincoln did? A. Fought in World War I. B. Freed the slaves. C. Wrote the Constitution.
I think the answer is B. Freed the slaves.
Yes. Abraham Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation during the Civil War, which led to the eventual abolition of slavery through the 13th Amendment. Question 81. What is one thing Benjamin Franklin is famous for? A. He was a U.S. diplomat. B. He was the first president. C. He discovered the Pacific Ocean.
I think the answer is A. He was a U.S. diplomat.
That's right. Benjamin Franklin played a major role in gaining support from France during the American Revolution. He was also an inventor and one of the founding fathers. Question 82. Why do some states have more representatives than other states? A. Because they were original colonies. B. Because they have more people. C. Because they are larger in land size.
I think the answer is B. Because they have more people.
Correct. Representation in the House is based on population, so states with more residents get more seats. This ensures proportional representation. Question 83. Why did the colonists fight the British? A. Because of high taxes. B. Because they wanted a king. C. Because they were British themselves.
I think the answer is A. Because of high taxes.
Exactly. The colonists opposed taxation without representation and fought for independence, leading to the American Revolutionary War. Question 84. If both the president and the vice president can no longer serve, who becomes president? A. The Chief Justice. B. The Speaker of the House. C. The Secretary of State.
I think the answer is B. The Speaker of the House.
Correct. The Speaker is next in the presidential line of succession after the Vice President, according to the Presidential Succession Act. Question 85. What are two cabinet-level positions? A. Secretary of Labor and Chief Justice. B. Attorney General and Vice President. C. Speaker of the House and Secretary of the Treasury.
I think the answer is B. Attorney General and Vice President.
Yes. Cabinet members advise the president on major topics. The vice president, while elected separately, also serves in the cabinet. Question 86. What is one responsibility that is only for United States citizens? A. To obey the law. B. To vote in a federal election. C. To serve in the military.
I think the answer is B. To vote in a federal election.
That's right. While many responsibilities apply to all residents, only citizens can vote in federal elections, such as for president or Congress. Question 87. What is the name of the President of the United States now? A. Joe Biden. B. Donald Trump. C. Barack Obama.
I think the answer is B. Donald Trump.
Correct. As of now, Donald Trump is the president. You'll need to confirm this just before your interview in case the answer changes due to elections. Question 88. What group of people was taken to America and sold as slaves? A. Europeans. B. Africans. C. Asians.
I think the answer is B. Africans.
Yes, millions of Africans were forcibly brought to America through the transatlantic slave trade and sold as slaves. This had a lasting impact on U.S. history. Question 89. The Federalist Papers supported the passage of the U.S. Constitution. Name one of the writers. A. Thomas Jefferson. B. John Jay. C. Benjamin Franklin.
I think the answer is B. John Jay.
Correct. John Jay, along with Alexander Hamilton and James Madison, wrote essays supporting ratification of the Constitution. These became known as the Federalist Papers. Question 90. How many voting members are in the House of Representatives? A. 100. B. 535. C. 435.
I think the answer is C. 435.
Exactly. The House has 435 voting members. Each represents a congressional district based on population size, which is determined by the census. Mark, that's it. You've officially completed all 100 civics questions. I'm genuinely proud of how far you've come.
Wow, I didn't think I'd get here when we started, but walking through each set of questions, understanding the meaning behind them, it changed everything for me.
And that's what this journey is about. You didn't just memorize answers. You've built a foundation in American history, law, and civic responsibility. That's what makes a great citizen.
Some answers surprised me along the way. I learned about the Constitution, the people who shaped it, and the reasons behind the rules we live by.
That's how you know you're ready. One last piece of advice. Review current office holders right before your interview and practice speaking your answers clearly.
I'll definitely do that. Thank you, Anne, for your patience, your explanations, and for helping me believe in myself.
You earned it, Mark. And when you raise your right hand at your naturalization ceremony, you'll know that you truly understand what it means to be a U.S. citizen. Congratulations.
100 Civics Questions for US Citizenship 2025. Animated Interview Practice, Part 7, 91-100. Anne and Mark meet for what they both know is their last session. The table between them now holds only a single stack of paper, the final 10 questions.
Mark, this is it, our final stretch. These last 10 questions may look simple, but they're rooted in some of the most important ideas of our nation.
I'm ready, Anne. Let's complete this together.
Question 91. Name one U.S. territory. A. Bermuda. B. Hawaii. C. Puerto Rico.
I think the answer is C. Puerto Rico.
Correct. Puerto Rico is a U.S. territory, meaning it's under U.S. sovereignty, but not a state. Others include Guam and the U.S. Virgin Islands. Question 92. What stops one branch of government from becoming too powerful? A. The President. B. Checks and balances. C. The Constitution.
I think the answer is B. Checks and balances.
Exactly. This system ensures that each branch, executive, legislative, judicial, can limit the powers of the others, preventing abuse of power. Question 93. Who was president during World War I? A. Theodore Roosevelt. B. Franklin D. Roosevelt. C. Woodrow Wilson.
I think the answer is C. Woodrow Wilson.
Right. Wilson led the U.S. during World War I and played a major role in the creation of the League of Nations afterward. Question 94. What does the Constitution do? A. Protects state laws. B. Declares independence. C. Sets up the government.
I think the answer is C. Sets up the government.
Correct. The Constitution defines the structure of government and protects the rights of citizens. It's the foundation of U.S. law and governance. Question 95. Name one state that borders Canada. A. California. B. New York. C. Florida.
I think the answer is B. New York.
That's right. New York shares a border with Canada across the Great Lakes and the St. Lawrence River. Other states include Maine, Washington, and Michigan. Question 96. What happened at the Constitutional Convention? A. The Constitution was written. B. The colonies declared war. C. The Civil War ended.
I think the answer is A. The Constitution was written.
Exactly. In 1787, delegates gathered in Philadelphia to write the U.S. Constitution, replacing the Articles of Confederation and creating a stronger federal government. Question 97. Name one state that borders Mexico. A. Nevada. B. Oklahoma. C. California.
I think the answer is C. California.
Yes, California borders Mexico to the south, along with Texas, Arizona, and New Mexico. Question 98. What is the supreme law of the land? A. The Declaration of Independence. B. The Bill of Rights. C. The Constitution.
I think the answer is C. The Constitution.
Correct. No law in the U.S. can override the Constitution. It is the highest legal authority in the country. Question 99. Who is the father of our country? A. Thomas Jefferson. B. George Washington. C. Abraham Lincoln.
I think the answer is B. George Washington.
Right. Washington is honored as the father of our country for his leadership during the Revolution and his role as the first president. Question 100. Why does the flag have 13 stripes? A. For the 13 battles won. B. For the 13 founding fathers. C. Because there were 13 original colonies.
I think the answer is C. Because there were 13 original colonies.
Exactly. The 13 stripes represent the original colonies that declared independence from Britain. The flag reflects both history and unity. And that's it, Mark. We've covered every single one of the 100 civics questions. You did it.
I can't believe we're at the end. Honestly, it feels like a journey, one that taught me much more than I expected. When we started, I thought this was just a list of facts to memorize, but it turned into something much deeper.
That's exactly the transformation I hope for. You're not just learning to pass a test, you're learning how to participate, contribute, and belong. That's what being a U.S. citizen truly means.
I feel like I understand the values and principles behind the Constitution now. It's not just about laws, it's about protecting people and giving them a voice.
That's beautifully said. As you get ready for your actual interview, this is a great time to reflect and self-evaluate. Let me walk you through how to do that effectively. Start by asking yourself, do I understand why this is the answer? It's one thing to say George Washington was the first president, but do you understand what he stood for and why he's called the father of our country? When you connect the answers to meaning, it sticks better.
That really helped me. Like when we talked about checks and balances, I can now explain what it means, not just say the phrase.
After a practice round, look back and be honest. Which questions made you hesitate? Did you struggle more with history or government structure? Did you feel rushed or unsure?
I noticed I sometimes pause on questions with numbers, like how many voting members are in the House. I need to drill those a little more.
Great insight. Those are quick wins. You already know the context. You just need to repeat them more often. Some answers depend on current information. So before your real interview, make sure you know the current president and vice president, know your state's governor, and your U.S. representative. Check if any officials have changed recently.
I've set a reminder the night before my interview to double-check those. Good to be sure.
Practicing calmly is one thing. Now try simulating real pressure. Ask a friend to quiz you without warning. Record yourself answering questions aloud. Give yourself a 10-minute timer and go through 20 random questions.
That sounds tough, but probably the best way to get mentally ready. I'll try it with my cousin this weekend.
Lastly, think beyond the questions. Ask yourself, do I feel more connected to the country's history? Do I understand my rights and how to use them? Am I ready to take on the responsibilities of citizenship?
Yes, I feel empowered now. I used to see voting as something distant, but now I can't wait to participate and make my voice count.
That right there, that's success. You didn't just learn answers. You've developed a civic identity. That's what naturalization is all about.
Thank you, Anne, for your time, your care, and how you made every answer come alive. You helped me see this as a privilege, not a chore.
And thank you, Mark, for showing dedication, curiosity, and heart. You're ready, truly ready, not just for the test, but for what comes after it.
I'm ready to take the oath and to live it every day.
And you will. Congratulations, future citizen. You've earned it every step of the way.